Let's say the whole thing costs $100,000 to set up. Monthly operating costs anywhere between $8,000 to $10,000, target revenue $18,000 to $20,000 a month, and net margin 35 to 40% break even. It's happening somewhere around 9 to 12 months. In year 2, you're starting to pay quarterly dividends. Hi everyone, my name is Borko and I'm the co-founder of Poddster. Welcome to another episode of Starting a Podcast Studio series. This time it's going to be solo and hopefully I'm as engaging as when I tag team with Vuk. You guys let me know. So let's talk about something I've been asked a lot recently. How do you raise money for starting or expanding your podcast studio? Now, first things first. You're not starting a risky SaaS company with no revenue and a 10-year roadmap. But also, it's not a boring real estate deal that locks up your $1 million in with the 3% yield. A podcasting studio sits right in between these two options, and best of both worlds is what the podcasting studio gives you. It's real, it's cash flowing, and the entry point is much lower than any of the other possible investments. Opportunity, if you play this game right, is very big. So when you're thinking of raising money or even investing maybe in someone's studio, let me show you how to approach it in a way that actually makes sense to people and it'll make sure that they really get it. I'll draw on learnings and real experience that I have from setting up Poddster with Vuk, both in Dubai and Singapore. So I'll break this down into a few sections and I'll clearly call out what each section is. Section 1 is who are you not raising from? So first, you're not going to raise from a VC. At least I don't recommend raising from a VC. VCs are looking for 100x returns, massive scale, billion-dollar exits. I used to work with VCs a lot when I was before starting a podcasting studio, and that was mostly related to SaaS businesses. And that's not what a podcast studio is built for. It's not a potential unicorn, and it doesn't moonshot. The whole nature of the podcasting studio is you're pitching retail investors and they mostly don't even want that. So what retail investors want, they want clarity. They want clear returns and they want to feel a part of something that they understand. People that I've met and people that I worked with when we pitched Poddster as a viable investment, they clearly understood what we're building and they really wanted to be a part of something that they can see being built, something they can feel, which is what the studio was about. As you're thinking about, who you're not raising from, then who are you really raising from? Who's your audience? Your audience is a business owner who already understands branding and content. Small business owner, maybe a startup founder that's not necessarily a SaaS-focused business. Your audience are podcasters who use studio and they see the opportunity. They might be using another studio, or if you're expanding, they might be using your studio and you are clearly there to talk to them. Your audience are people who love podcasts and they want to be a part of the industry, people who are listening to podcasts, people who are big fans. They understand the industry and they probably are curious where this investment can take them. Even people with money sitting in a bank or in a property are good target audience to talk to. They're looking for something more interesting and more viable than a 3% annual return. So these aren't people that you cold email with a pitch deck. They are people who already mostly are around you. They're clients, they're guests, friends of friends, people at random events that you meet, and people that you've recorded with. Especially if you have a studio, you have access to all these people. If you don't have a studio yet, these are your ex-coworkers, these are people that are in the industry, these are people that you can meet somewhere and just start talking about your idea. One thing I've learned is that even if you share your idea and you might be thinking, hey, I'm not sure how much I should be talking about this because someone can steal an idea. Ideas are almost worthless. It's the execution that counts. So trust me, there are hundreds and thousands of people that have the same idea. I've interviewed some of the studio operators which told me like, oh, I used to have an idea of starting a studio years ago, but they haven't. So I think it's not just understanding that there is a market opportunity. There should be more to it, and that's why you should be talking to people about your idea, and you should try if that's what you want to do. You should be trying to get the right crowd behind you. These people already get the space there, and you're just helping them connect the dots from I like this to I could own this. And trust me, people are looking for such opportunities. Next section is how do you frame the opportunity clearly? Here's what people you talk to want to hear. It's a real business with real bookings, with revenue and real customers. It's not some potential that sits in the air and that might be worth $1 billion in 10 years. It's a capital efficient project, and you're not raising millions of dollars. And what's the best part? It can start paying dividends as early as year 2. Imagine that. That's a huge differentiator. When you talk to people, most small businesses don't promise yield at all for a number of years. SaaS certainly doesn't, and real estate takes years to build. A well-run studio can hit break even in under 12 months and start distributing profits the year after. That's attractive, and that's pretty rare. So show simple numbers. Let me give you a simple example that will probably resonate with you. Let's say the whole thing costs $100,000 to set up. Monthly operating costs anywhere between $8,000 to $10,000, target revenue $18,000 to $20,000 a month, and net margin 35% to 40%. Break even, it's happening somewhere around 9 to 12 months. In year 2, you're starting to pay quarterly dividends. Do your own math, and you'll see the numbers. So you meet someone and they're willing to put in $50K. They're not going to wait forever to see the returns. They could see payouts as early as year 2 and potentially earn back their capital within 3 to 4 years with an ongoing yield beyond that. Now try getting that with a $50K investment in a condominium. It just won't happen. Why is this exciting beyond the numbers? And this is the part which also triggered me as well as someone that not just wanted to build a viable business, but also wanted to be a part of the industry. This really matters to a lot of people. It isn't just an Excel sheet. It's a space with energy. Podcasting isn't going away. Businesses, creators, coaches, startups, everyone wants a voice. And that's what you're going to give them. So demand for quality production, creative space, and content support is only going to go up. So when people invest in your business, in your vision of a studio, they're not just buying into the studio itself. They're buying into a brand, culture, a media platform that makes the investment far more emotional and fun and easier to promote. You just got to start on that angle, and it will resonate with a number of people. So how do you find these people? Like, that's the question that I get asked the most, like, where do I connect with them? So look around and your existing client base. If you are a studio operator, you're looking for expand, your perfect starting point is your client base. Look at your guests that come to the studio, the guests of your clients. Look at people who are coming for tours. If you are not a studio owner and you're starting the first studio, look at your friends or fans of podcasting as an industry. Go to creator events, talk to marketing groups, and find LinkedIn circles. These are all environments where you can find people who are interested in supporting you, because a lot of people might have an idea, but they're more looking into maybe supporting or being a part of something versus owning this huge load of, I'm going to do it myself. You don't need 50 investors you need 3 or 4 people who really get it. And you can start by saying something like, hey, I'm starting a studio or I'm expanding a studio. It's already generating revenue, or show them some simple numbers what you're planning to build. I'm bringing a couple of partners together to start this new venture. Would you want to take a look at the numbers? And that's it. That's the only thing you need to say. Simple, clear, and open. Be very transparent, and numbers will speak to themselves, and you will resonate your message with people who are the right investors for what you're trying to build. In closing, if you're trying to raise money for your studio, remember a few key things. You're not selling the hype. You're not selling a distant dream of you're going to build a unicorn. You're going to end up on a Forbes list. You're offering a real ownership in a creative business that can generate yield in under 2 years. It's rare, it's exciting, and it's for the right people. It's a no-brainer. Thanks for watching. If you want to help building your pitch or reframing the numbers or just bounce off your ideas, drop me a message in this community. I'm happy to share what worked for me and Vuk, what worked for Poddster. This community is here for you, and I'm really curious to hear from you. How are you going to expand and how you plan to build maybe your first studio? Good luck.